Hi folks, in this third installment of the EndoSyncPlus review and kind of settings protocol, if you will, I wanted to talk to you just a little bit more about the idea of custom OTR and what you can do with that. Remember that we mentioned the previous videos, and now you have this idea of rotation with suddenly pushing into reciprocation when the torque setting is set at the torque limit that you want, now both in the forward direction as well as in the reverse direction, depending on the kind of file you use. Most files would be used in the forward direction, but then some of the reciprocating files that are designed for cutting in reverse would be used with reverse OTR. But OTR itself can be custom made, and as I mentioned, we have 6 memory settings that have been previously set based on my kind of feedback with the manufacturer. Memory setting 6 is basically just a normal setting without any OTR. That's meant for those people who want to use a handpiece like any of a regular handpiece without its OTR features. But memories 1 through 5 are set with OTR setting, and in fact the first 4 settings have an OTR. Sorry, I had to cut into this video to make a couple of small corrections here. Memories 1 through 5 are set with the conventional OTR that has been designed for the EndoSyncPlus, and that is 180 degrees in the cutting direction and 60 degrees in the non-cutting direction. And that's an important thing. Keep that in mind, because you first have to decide whether you have a cutting direction that is in the clockwise direction or a non-clockwise direction, and that is really a function of the file that you're using. Are you using a conventional normal NiTi file that is cutting in the rotation motion? Then that's always going to be in a positive direction, so you have a clockwise or a forward cutting direction with a relief non-cutting direction in the counterclockwise direction. But if you have a reciprocating file, then your cutting direction would be in the reverse direction, with the relief being obviously in the clockwise direction. So that's an important distinction, and the conventional EndoSyncPlus with the presets that are coming pre-programmed into the handpiece are coming with the first 5 settings with OTR, and the 6th setting is a non-OTR setting. Now, memory setting 3 is the only setting where the cutting direction is in the reverse. Therefore, memory setting 3 is actually designed for files such as the ESR and Wave 1 Gold and Reciproc and those files. And all the rest are meant for conventional files. But what's memory 6 now, you can change that whatever way you want. You can first of all change it so that it's the cutting direction is in the forward direction, or if it's in the reverse direction. You can furthermore change the angle of the cutting from 150 degrees to 180 degrees to 270 degrees or even 360 degrees for the maximum efficiency. And that really is the key thing. The cutting angle, whether it's in the forward or in the reverse direction, which is in the clockwise or in the counterclockwise direction, you have to prioritize whether you want safety versus efficiency. If you want efficiency, then you're going to go above the 150 cutting direction, so you can be 180 degrees. If you want to be more adventurous and get more juice out of the engine, go to 270 degrees, or if you really want to push the limit, you can go up to 360 degrees, which would be one full rotation of cutting before you end up having a non-cutting direction of either 30 or 60 or 90 degrees. So whatever way that formula works out for you is really a function of your preference and between and maximizing safety versus efficiency. Now, if you want to have the safest motion on the EndoSyncPlus, what I would probably say for a very, very novice person who wants to maximize safety, I would probably recommend that you use this at 300 RPM, depending on the file, whether it's a forward cutting or reverse cutting. Then the cutting angle should be 150 degrees or max 180 degrees, and a relief of anywhere from 30 to 60 degrees would be basically what you want to have. And that will give you a lot of safety in your cutting, and that would be ideal. But as I mentioned, you can mix and match just any way you want to get even more efficiency out of it by going up to 180 degrees to 270 degrees or even 360 degrees. Now, one thing I have found for the EndoSequence file that I use, which is the 06 taper primarily, the conventional non-heat treated EndoSequence file, with the 06 taper, I found that the 300 RPM with a OTR setting, obviously in clockwise direction because it's EndoSequence, conventional EndoSequence, of 270 degrees and a relief of about 60 degrees, or you could do relief of 90 degrees. So 270 to 90 is giving me a lot of efficiency with that particular file while it still is very safe. I haven't had any issues with it. So you can put that into the memory number 6, which is completely programmable, whatever you want to have it. Put OTR, 300 RPM, 270 degrees clockwise direction, 90 degrees counterclockwise direction. Use the EndoSequence file in the 06 taper to do your coronal tapering. And then for the apical 1/3 of the root, you actually use a heat-treated file so you can get around curves. And for that, you could even actually use the ESR file, which is heat-treated, or an EndoSequence CM files. And the only difference there is that if you use the CM, you have to be cutting in the clockwise direction. But if you use the reciprocating ESR, you have to use it in the reverse cutting direction. So you may have to, if you're changing files between files that are cutting in the reverse and the forward direction, you may have to change memory settings. Go from memory setting 3 to memory setting 5, or you can even program them next to each other so you can go one memory up, one memory down, use clockwise direction files, and then use files that are cutting in counterclockwise direction. So this is what I want to talk about. The power of a custom OTR in this handpiece is really a great feature that I really worked hard to get into it, and I hope you enjoy it. I'd love to hear back from you if anybody has had a chance to. It's brand new, so I'm sure with this video coming out, nobody has yet tried it. But if any of you end up using it and get more kind of juice out of the engine this way, I'd love to hear your feedback right at the bottom below, and looking forward to hearing your feedback on the EndoSyncPlus and its customizable OTR setting in both forward and reverse direction. For people with Endo, I'm Nasseh, and let's save some teeth.